Welcome to Vermontitude, a collaborative effort between Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV to bring you the stories behind the stories on the topics you want to learn more about. Because there's always more, so there'll always be Vermontitude. Hosted by me, Peter Fish Case. Welcome to Vermontitude. New episodes drop every Tuesday and can be found by going to vermontitude.com, reformer.com, brattleboro.tv, and locally on Comcast Channel 1078. We come to you from our studios at the Innovation Box on Landmark Hill. I'm Peter Fish Case, and each week I cover the topics that are of concern to Windham County and the towns that reside within its borders. Today we're speaking with the folks from the Connecticut River Conservancy, Kathy Urffer and Brett Morrison. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Great.
Good.
Thanks for having us, Peter.
Yeah, no, happy to do it. All right, so it's July, so we're gonna get into Riverfest here in a little bit because I know that that's a big thing that started last year, I believe. But first, I want folks to kind of understand what the Connecticut River Conservancy does because it's a lot of important work. So, Kathy, if you could answer that question.
Sure, I'd be glad to. Connecticut River Conservancy, if you break it down, it's all about the Connecticut River. We are a nonprofit organization that works in Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, and Connecticut to take care of the Connecticut River and its watershed. And we do that in a lot of different ways. So that can include on the ground, like river restoration projects. It includes picking up garbage and keeping trash out of our waterways. It includes educating our children in communities and bringing people out to the water, helping them find their way onto the river, and advocacy.
Okay. Watershed. I know what it is only because I've worked with you before. So explain to people when we use terms like watershed, what does that mean?
It really means the whole, when you think of a river, the river is the lowest point where water ends up, right? So any water body, the water in that water body is coming down from somewhere else. So in our case, in Vermont,
right, the
watershed really encompasses the entire eastern half of the state. You think of the Green Mountains as the high point. If the rain falls on the Green Mountains, it flows east or west. When it flows east, it comes into the Connecticut River ultimately. So what that means for our advocacy work and our effort is that it includes all of the tributary streams. So, the West River, the Ottauquechee River, the Passumpsic, all of the tributary streams are included in what ends up in the Connecticut River.
Okay.
And that's a whole ecosystem. We work with it all together.
Okay. All right. And I know you have different points where you do this. You do a kind of a day where you round up some volunteers and do a little cleanup project. Have you guys done that this year yet?
It's a pretty big cleanup project.
Yeah.
It's really hundreds of volunteers. We do that every year, and I think we're going on our 28th year. That is called the Source to Sea Cleanup,
right.
And it is at the end of September 27th and 28th. We invite people to go out at any point to help pick up trash, and we can support groups with that. But on that weekend, we have groups going out all through the watershed in all 4 states, and it can be families, individuals. It can be groups like in our area, the Brattleboro Rotaries have come out to do cleanups, and we support those groups with trash bags, tools, helping them find a site to clean up, and then also helping them to dispose of the trash.
Right. I mean, because we're talking about fishing line, we're talking about tires, we're talking about
mattresses, all kinds of things. And especially when you consider the floods, like the floods from last July, we, as we deal with more and more floods like that, we're going to have more and more trash in our rivers because that stuff washes off the land or gets caught up. And so it includes picking up a lot of the big trash too. So
what's funny, if you're anywhere near the area in Brattleboro and you're crossing over from Brattleboro into Hinsdale over the Connecticut, you'll notice that they're doing a bridge project there. And in that bridge project, in order to build the big bridge, they had to build a small bridge. And the amount of stuff that is just hung up right there from a slow flow, not even floods, not even anything, of garbage that accumulates in our river, it's actually a little disheartening to see that amount. I mean, some of it's like driftwood and all that, but it helps kind of block it. But the amount of plastic that's in the water. So so good on you for all that work that you guys do. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. And we actually collect data on what kind of trash we're picking up and then try to roll that into advocacy work. So one of the biggest sources of pollution in the river is really plastics.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of different organizations in the nation and the Northeast trying to work on plastics. So we try to support that work and help educate people. And
all right. Well, no, it's good. It's important work. And thank you for keeping our rivers clean.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of clean rivers, it's July, so that means we're coming up on Riverfest here. Are we still calling it Riverfest?
Riverfest Light. We're calling it the New England Paddle Sports Championship and Community Challenge Race.
All right. So tell us a little bit about that, how people can get involved, what's involved.
Started in 2022 when CRC adopted the New England Paddle Sports Championship race for the first time. And we worked with a lot of community partners to make sure there was a free day so that people could come down to the river and enjoy it. And so this year, that's on Sunday, the 28th of July. And it'll be over at Norm's Marina in Hinsdale. The real opportunities for the community, I think, are to come down and just enjoy a great day on the river with riverside activities and watching some of these talented racers who come from around the country or around the Northeast, at least.
Yeah.
And we're really interested in seeing more folks participate in the community challenge, which that island between the 119 bridges, if you lap it, it's about, we call it a mile. It's about 0.9 mile. And so we're going to do a community challenge race with 2-person teams coming down. And we're really looking for folks to dust off the old canoe, get it out of the barn, get it out of their parents' garage, whatever it takes, come down and be part of a community challenge race just to enjoy the river together and have some yucks.
Okay.
They'll pass under the bridges. People will be up their sidewalks on the upstream side of both of those bridges.
Right.
And people will be able to cheer them on, throw water balloons perhaps. But it should be just a fun day.
Weaponize the crowd. Good job.
Yeah.
And
biodegradable
biodegradable water balloons. And a specific challenge to anyone who wants to try to beat your river stewards. Myself and Kate Buckman, who is our river steward in New Hampshire, will be in a canoe in that community challenge, and we invite you to come try to kick our butt.
Okay. All right. So that sounds like a lot of fun. So the community challenge, how do people get involved in that? Where do they find information? What are they?
Yeah, so all of the information is really going to be readily available at ctriver.org.
Okay.
And for the Source to Sea cleanup we were talking about earlier, that's under events and how to get involved. It's a major opportunity to be part of some of our community involvement, volunteerism. This is under ctriver.org/Riverfest.
Okay. All right. And again, that's July 28th.
Sunday, July 28th.
Now,
and a storm date, which we're hoping to avoid this July.
We ran into a little bit of a problem with that last year, didn't we?
Yep.
We had an unusually wet July, which unfortunately really impacted a lot of families, farms, businesses, and impacted this event in that we had a lot of community partners and local sponsors ready to do year 2.
Yeah.
And the river was not cooperating. It stayed up. I kept telling people, it'll be back down. I rarely see it up for more than a week, much less 2 weeks. It stayed up for 3.5, 4 weeks in July.
Yeah, I remember that. It was really kind of an anomaly, but
a wet July.
But so far, I think we're doing okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
mixing in enough sunshine.
It's early yet. So is this going to include the professional, the guys with like the super light kayaky kind of canoes?
Yeah. So there's a group that will travel to compete in these races that are many of them sponsored by the New England Canoe and Kayak Racing Association.
Yeah.
Or they're part of that race series, and local groups like us or Sandy Harris, in fact, who just did a race this weekend, a great race that brought in people from all over. here on the West River in Connecticut called Brattle Paddle.
Yeah.
So there's events like that, and these folks come in with, as you said, they're carbon fiber, they're high tech boats for race. They're really racing canoes, racing kayaks. People come in with a recreation paddleboard, but they're actually, believe it or not, are racing paddleboards. And then the other one that I still haven't quite figured out how to describe is called a surf ski, which just looks like a super fast, long kayak.
Yeah.
And so each of those classes, and there's age groups, and men and women. There's some are 2-person, some are 1. And I'm told we're even going to see our first 4-person race canoe, a C4 in the parlance of racing.
Wow.
Racing paddle sports.
I know that looking at some of these canoes and some of these carbon fiber things, they are ridiculously light. And these people invest a lot of money, and they get super sensitive if you get too close to them and you don't know what you're doing. I can tell you that, but I have bikes like that, so I get it. But so it was exciting to watch those guys in the first year kind of paddle around and how quickly they moved and how seamlessly they moved through the water.
And they're really thinking about the way the water and the depth and where they are on the river is affecting their speed.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. I really appreciated the first year when you were announcing from the deck at Whetstone, hearing some of the things that were actually in play. Because to me, it just looks like a bunch of people out there paddling hard, but they're drafting off each other, much like a bike peloton. They're thinking about how their boats travel in the water based on the depth.
Right.
So we'll tend to see them hug the shore, which evidently is a better speed area. They tend to be more in lines, kind of like if you're watching the Olympic trials now, it's more like the end laps of the 10,000 when they thin out and aren't free abreast. So it's a real racing culture. And they invest in the equipment, they train. We've got a couple of folks right here, Michael Fairchild being one, who is a regular competitor. And he's down on the river training every week, and then traveling for these type of races. Goes to Michigan for a major race.
Wow!
So it's a serious sport.
It's fun. All right, so that's going to go on Sunday, July 28th at Norm's Marina, which is just over the border in Hinsdale.
Yep.
And anything else that we're missing here?
Well, I think for people that might be interested in racing. You would register. You can register online or register a little early. If you come around 9, you can register for the race. The activities and food, we'll have some kids' activities and educational activities. That's all going to start at 10. The race will start at 10:30, and it's actually really exciting to watch. So we invite spectators to come down, hang out with us, learn a little bit more about the river, enjoy being by the river. And watching the racers, and it might actually inspire you to try it yourself. Even though we're describing the racers as kind of like professional athletes, the race is open to anyone. So, if you have a competitive edge and you feel like whatever kind of boat you may have, you can come and register and throw it in the water and sort of like test your own limits to see how much time it would take you to do one of the courses.
Jump right in. We call that OTC, off the couch.
Okay.
All right. Just off the couch into the water and go.
Yeah.
Why not?
We're looking for the off the couch participant, particularly for the community challenge.
Yeah.
The rec length of the New England Paddle Sports Championship, there is a 5-mile, believe it or not, is their rec length. This is a marathon race within the series. So it's a 12-mile. Some of these folks are going to be racing 12 miles in laps around the island, going down below the railroad bridge.
Yeah.
But for all of us OTCs, it's the 1 mile is a great way to get involved and get a taste of the festivities.
If you're coming off the couch, you got to do the 12.
Dive right in.
That's it, man. Yeah. Just no cutting around. Just go right to the 12.
We're all about the deep end.
Go till your armpits bleed. That's what I say. All right, guys. Listen, did we leave anything out? Is there anything that we left out that you need to cover?
I just would like to point out, we have a lot of members in this area, and both in Greater Brattleboro, Cheshire County, and not only for the volunteerism you guys were talking about earlier with Source to Sea and other community science, just the support and membership. It makes a stronger community. It helps Kathy be more effective advocating up in Montpelier for your rivers and river policy. And I'd also like to just give a shout out to some of the sponsors who've been with us since year one of launching Riverfest. We've got Savings Bank of Walpole. Richards Group has been with us each of the past 3 years. Prentice Smith is a regular, consistent supporter with the Source to Sea cleanup and sends out cleanup groups. Most recently, I think, to Whetstone Terrace out there in West B. Who else? Oh, Berkeley and Veller. It's been phenomenal support for bringing the race and developing a day that we can come down and enjoy the river together. So they and others, I apologize if Reed and Reed, North Star, Vermont Yankee Decommissioning. Reed and Reed's the company doing the new bridge. They've been really supportive of this, come down, enjoy the river with us day. So Thank you to all of them. And thank you to everybody who supports the work of clean and healthy rivers we can all enjoy.
Thank you.
And the one thing I would add is, we're here to serve people. So questions come up about the river, you see dead fish and you think, what is going on? Don't hesitate to reach out to your river steward. That's me, Kathy Urffer. And our contact information for all of our river stewards is on our website at ctriver.org.
Guys, thanks for the work you do, and thanks for coming on Vermontitude.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.